y'all, Natalie here, and today I'm super excited to bring to you a project I've been working on for a few weeks now. It is a 4th of July mini album. I've been super into making mini albums, and I love 4th of July. It's all about the sparkle, so I'm down with that. So I decided to do a 4th of July mini album. And so what a lot of what you'll see here, I don't have like specific instructions, but I was heavily influenced by Paige Taylor Evans and by a channel called Selma Scrap. And that one is in another language, but everything is pretty self-explanatory when you watch her. So what I did was I took mini album inspiration from both of them and kind of figured out how to make my own. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm doing a 5x7 mini. So I measured that paper to 5x7, folded over signature. And then I made the chipboard just a little bit larger so that it would encompass the signature size of a 5x7. And so what I'm doing is I'm cutting down the front and back cover and then the inside, what's the binder part. And so you'll see in a second, I changed that because that is way too skinny. Every year we have 4th of July party ever since we moved to the house that we're in right now. And it's super fun. And so I wanted to document that yearly, and that wasn't going to give me enough room. I love a good chunky mini album. So I decided to make the spine much larger. So there you see. And now I wanted the spine to have different paper than the front and back cover. So I'm making this kind of, I'm not a bookmaker. I don't know the proper word, but it's like a Band-Aid kind of. So I'm using Mod Podge as my glue. And again, not a proper bookmaker. So if this is not the proper way to do things, just know this is my way of doing things. So I am covering the spine with white. And then it's going to touch each of the front and back cover. And that way I can put different papers on the front cover and the back cover in the spine. You'll see what I mean here in a minute. So I got this idea from Paige, using those pieces of chipboard as a little spacer because you have to give it room to open and close. And then I'm doing it on the other side and then figure out to be a little bit neater here. And as you can see, when you watch this video, my nail polish changes. I definitely didn't do all of this in one day. It was a project. And that's fine. It was fun. And I'm super happy with how it turned out. So you'll see it all come together here. So, yeah, I fold that over. I use my bone folder a lot to make sure that the glue is adhered well. And then I also kind of use it to crease to make sure the bending is gonna break down the paper to make sure that the album bends well together. So ends up, I kind of envisioned a few signatures in here. It ends up with only fits about 3 because like I said, I like to make them really chunky, but that's okay. I'll just make another one later on. But most of the supplies that I bought that I have to create this album are from a Cherry on Top. So that's why I have my Cherry on Top design team label at the end of my photo and everything. So now I'm just covering the inside cover, and I edited this video obviously, so what you're not seeing is me agonizing over measurements and whatnot, because if you've watched any of my other videos, I'm very messy. I'm not a very specific crafter at all. I'm not a ruler person. So there was a lot of measuring and measure twice, cut once kind of thing. So that's going to be the spine. And so what I do is I go ahead and I use that paper to cover the outside spine. And then this is my problem. Okay. So obviously since it's a 5x7, binding or a little bit larger, I don't have paper that is 10 by 14. All of our scrapbook paper is 12 by 12, right? I mean, there's probably papers that are 14 inches long, but I didn't have any on hand, especially not papers that corresponded to my theme of 4th of July. So that's why I needed to make the spine a different pattern than the front and back covers, because I did want the front and back covers to match. So that's why I came up with this kind of creative solution of like a Band-Aid kind of connecting them all. I don't know if that, I would love to know the right term. If you know the right term, leave it down below. And also, if you have any questions about this process, I will try to answer them down below. Like I said, I spent a lot of time watching others make their mini albums. And what I knew I wanted to do was to create the signatures using little threads so that I could add charms to the outside. And I'm using my X-Acto knife there to just make sure the cuts are really clean. And so I did a lot of research before I made this. And so it just kind of made sense to me, I guess, after I had watched so many videos about what I need to do. So again, I don't have really specific measurements on anything, but I can try to help. So now I'm cutting down this blue paper for the front and back covers. And as you can see, it doesn't stretch across the entirety because the paper was only 12 by 12. So I'm going to cut it in half. And then that leaves me a little bit on each side to wrap around to the inside of the cover and, to cover the ends. And a lot of times when I watch Selma scrap, she doesn't cover the ends, but she also a lot of times uses fabric, which is gorgeous and makes a much more professional look. But this is just for me. It's not for sale. And I like the way it looks. But I do like the wrapping of the edge of the chipboard. That is a Webster's Pages paper, I think. And that star paper, I'm not really sure. It's pretty old from my stash. So now I'm wrapping. It's kind of like wrapping a paper. And what you'll see me do here is I'm going to squeeze the corners and bring them down all the way to the chipboard to cut off the corners to make them flush against the chipboard. And that is a Paige move for sure. She did that. A tutorial that I followed from her, so I think from October 2019. I'll link it down below. And she does a lot of the similar process of the way she uses the chipboard and everything. So I'm sorry if I left too much of this in here. But I was kind of proud of figuring it out. It's almost like a little puzzle that I figured out. So there I have the album, and now I just need to put the inside paper in. So I choose this blue and white polka dots, and I trim it down to basically the exact size that is still showing as chipboard, and just a little bit more to cover up the edges of the papers. And I finish up with some more Mod Podge. And I'm super happy with how this turned out. It was super fun. I'm definitely going to be making more of these. I'm currently in the process of figuring out one for the end of the month. There's a certain special day, and I'm agonizing over the shape of it or the size of it. I'm not sure what I want to do yet. It's fun. It's fun making your own album because it can be anything you want. So I'm super proud of that. So now I'm going to make some of the signatures. And so I grabbed a bunch of different patriotic papers in different sizes. So each signature is going to be on cardstock with patterned paper on it in a 5x7 size. But then there's also going to be inserts within the signatures that can be any different kinds of sizes. So you'll see what I'm doing here is I'm scoring lines so that the signatures can be folded in different sizes beyond 5x7. So that it'll just have some interest and kind of be, exciting to look at and not just like same size pages every time you flip through. So like this one's going to be like, at the gatefold. Yes, that's the word, gatefolded. And so some of the papers are like that cream color. So I just try to keep each signature the same. So if I had that cream color, then the other pages were kind of based in cream and not so much bright white. And then if I had white, I try not to use too much cream. So I'm going to show you just one process, one process part of making one single page, but I just made so many that I can't film them all, but I will do a walkthrough at the end of this. So yeah, I have these silver Heidi Swap stickers, super old. I was only missing the O, which is crazy. And so I used parentheses to make the O. And then I die cut in red glitter as well. And so the title is going to be Baby, You're a Firework. That's that Katy Perry song. So this was the first year of our party. And this can be kind of like the title page of the album. And that's a new bottle of Nuvo glue. That glue is fabulous, and I made sure to really put a ton of it on everything because there's no page protectors in this mini album, so I wanted to ensure that everything stuck really well. So there's a ton of glue in here. So yeah, there's the first page, and that's where the insert's gonna go, and nothing gets put together until we sew the book together. Or maybe you're gonna watch me do this other page as well. I lied. There's two processes in here. So this one, I have this skinny photo of my husband lighting fireworks, and the title is going to be I Love Boom Boom Boom. Because, I mean, as most men are super into being a pyro during 4th of July. We live outside the city limits, so we went crazy with fireworks. Although now they're allowing fireworks in the city limits, but... So I just added a couple of quick embellishments because I want the title and all the glittery letters to be kind of the star of the show. So yeah, I have all of my pages completed for that signature. So I'm going to show you how to include them in the book. So I won't leave all the measuring part in there, but basically I decided with the width or the fatness of that signature that I could only fit 3 in this album, even though it's a super fat spine. So I used this new Crop-A-Dile that I got from A Cherry on Top, and I highly recommend it. And I cut holes in the top and bottom of the spine, and now I'm going to use the Crop-A-Dile to put these what are they? Eyelets with washers on the back on. So you do have to be pretty strong. Have to have a strong hand for that, or use 2 hands. So if you don't have a lot of strength in your hands, hopefully you have someone who can help you. So there you can see I have all of my eyelets in, and then I decide before I start sewing that on that I need another little loop at the top because I want to add on a charm that I made for the edge of it. So I'm cutting smaller holes and putting in smaller eyelets for a little loop that will just be a holder for my charm. So I combine all the parts of the single signature, and I line them up with the holes on the spine, and I use this twine from the store to just basically thread it through. It's super simple. And then you thread it through all the holes and make sure it's nice and lined up and tight. And then when you have it tight, I just tied the twine in a spot that it could basically kind of serve as an embellishment almost, because I use twine on my pages a lot. And so you could get like I think a lot of times when people do this, they use like waxed twine, and it's much thinner. But I wanted it to be seen. So, and I am going to flip through that real quick, but we'll do a longer flip through here at the end. That is not sped up. So right there, it wasn't closing well, but it does end up closing well. So now I've finished all the pages. So here's the final project. So I did a cover. I just used a large die cut. I think that's from a Pebbles collection. And then I just lined it with this glitter ribbon. And now you can see I have the 2 signatures. I have my 3rd signature ready to go for this year. But I have figured out that you definitely need to build the pages before you include them in the album. They just open easier, and it's much easier. So there's my little charm that I made. I got the flag, and then I just added those pom-poms and some beads. That was super fun. So there's the first year. Oh, and there's one section where the 2 signatures are sticking together. They keep getting hung on those alphas. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to keep that from happening. But there you can see I have my last signature ready to go, but I am going to fill it with the photos and everything first before I thread it in. So I left that out for now. Yeah, so there's the title page. And then I want to do some journaling for each year. So that's where I added my journaling with my little dude. And there's the gatefolded insert. So there's the boom boom. If you open it, it says treason is the reason for the season. I saw that. A lot of times I like to get my punny ideas from Googling or looking up t-shirt ideas for whatever holiday or whatever theme I'm going with. So there's the second year, starting with the signature on the right there. So I have my boys and their treehouse, and I have firecrackers is the title down the side. So this is why I love 4th of July. It's so sparkly. So, and this is a trifold insert. So there's one side of it. It said this party is lit because they all had sparklers. And there's where my boys love going to the fireworks tent and buying the fireworks. And I sewed that on. And there's the journaling for that year. And again, that's a title that I found on a t-shirt. And there's the last page of that one. So I had so much fun making this album. I hope you're inspired to create a mini album as well. And I'll be adding that last signature soon. And I'll maybe update my channel or at least put it on Instagram. So I'll link down below with my affiliate link for a cherry on top and all the links to my inspiration that I got for this. And here's some final photos. I'll try to blog about it so you can see all the photos up close on my blog as well. Thanks for watching, y'all. Bye.